So I know some of the big news this week has been that there's updates in CDC's recommendations regarding mask wearing, and I know a lot of discussion with that. There, it doesn't actually like the Dane County mask mandate or order. What the health order regarding masks is still, it doesn't really change anything for us. But I know it's interesting to look at the different recommendation changes and so on. And as there's been this change and this discussion, I've been reminded of something. I've been reminded how thankful I am that I am not the one who's been making decisions regarding public health over this last year or so about how to deal with the pandemic, whether it's mask wearing or other recommendations and so on. And I know there's various and sometimes strong opinions about what the government should be saying and not saying, what health officials should be saying and not saying. And this isn't the place to discuss those strong opinions. But I do want to say something that I think we can all agree on is, man, navigating this situation has had to been a real challenge, and I'm thankful for the work that people have put in, and we should continue to pray for them as they think about going forward, like how as more things are easing up, and but then how to do it the right way. Because I mean, what a challenging thing to try to navigate, like taking right next steps for public health, but then also like doing it in a way where you're respecting people's rights, and then also promoting local business, promoting businesses, and just I mean, it's such a complex situation, and just I'm really thankful I'm not the one in charge of it because trying to figure it all out has had to been really really hard. But man, if you think about how hard that this situation has been to try to navigate all these different complexities, it puts in perspective for me a bit just how big our God has to be to navigate all the complexities of life. To think that God is so big that he allows us our freedom of choice and yet is big enough that he works in all things for our good and his glory. That God's for God, like it says time and time again in his word that no plan of his can be thwarted, and yet he gives us freedom of choice and free will and all these things. Like how big is God that he gives us the freedom to choose things and to do things independently, and yet is wise enough and strong enough that he can work in every detail according to his plan and his purpose. Man, it's crazy. He's so big, which is important for us sometimes to remember. Not sometimes, us always remember, because sometimes we can look at the world and be like, man, it doesn't look like we know what's going on, like how, like, and sometimes it might look like, man, maybe God isn't in control, like he doesn't know what he's doing. But it's then, and I'm reminded of the book of Job, and I love Job, and I love, and just that quick review. I mean, Job has all this just terrible stuff. I mean, man, it is just really, the amount of loss he has is awful. And there's this back and forth in Job, and finally he gets upset with God, and is calling out to God, like, God, would you answer me? Then God basically, what he does is, it's like he takes Job on like a virtual tour of the world. He's just like, like, were you there when I put the stars in the sky? When I did all these different things? And Job, answer me, surely you know. And basically what it does is, and it might seem kind of abrupt at first, but what he's doing, it's more than just putting Job in his place. It's what he's doing is really reminding Job just how big God is, and how you might not understand how everything in this world works, but it works. And so you can trust that even though you don't necessarily understand what God's doing right now, God knows what he's doing. And that's the reminder that you and I can have so often. Man, we don't know what's all going on here, but like this world is, I mean, think about how complex everything is that's going on in the world right now. We can't wrap our heads around how to do everything and to work everything according to a plan, but God does, and he knows what he's doing. And if you ever have a doubt, ever have a question that he knows what he's doing, well, first of all, you can go back and remember what Job did. You can look at everything going on in the sky and the world and just realize that, man, it's beyond us. Clearly, God is bigger than us, and he knows what he's doing, even if we don't understand it. But also, if you ever question that he is up to something good for you, I mean, look at the cross. Like, it's like what Paul says in Romans chapter 8. I mean, if he did not spare his own son, if he gave his son up on a cross to die for us, to have us, is there anything that he, won't give us? He gives us all things. God is working for our good. If you ever doubt it, look at the cross. If you ever need a reminder that he's doing something good, think about how complex everything is and know that he knows what he's doing.